Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm excited to introduce you to our guest, Philip Carr-Gomm. Philip combines inspiration from the worlds of psychology and spirituality to help us access our own wellspring of happiness, creativity, and meaning. Rooted in the nature spirituality of Druidry, Philip also draws on his training in psychology, psychosynthesis, psychotherapy, and sophrology. He is the founder of the Sophrology Institute. Philip helps participants in his talks and workshops transform their lives through the imaginative use of conversation, plant and animal oracles, music and poetry, meditation and ritual. He has authored or co-authored 20 books, including The Druid Animal Oracle and The Druidcraft Tarot. He has worked in the field of psychedelic therapy with the Synthesis Institute and the ACER Integration Program. For 32 years, he was the head of Bard, Ovates, and Druids. Welcome, Philip. We are so happy that you are with us today. Thank you for joining.
Hello there, Brandy. Hi. I'm really happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. So blessed and honored that you are here to share your gift with the world and the listeners that are tapping and tuning in from around the world. I can't wait for us to dig deeper into everything that you are.
Great, thank you. Well, shall I dive in straight away and explain the work?
Absolutely.
Great. So, well, the Druid tradition is this, it originally comes from the pre-Christian indigenous tradition of the island, the British Isles and Ireland and Brittany, which is now in France, and this area. And over the years, it's changed and grown and developed. And then in the last 300 years, it's had the most incredible kind of growth and development. And within this tradition, you have three streams, the bards, ovates, and druids that you mentioned, the order that I'm still involved in and work with, having handed on the chieftainship of the order to a wonderful lady, Ema Burke from Ireland. So we work in three streams. Druidry has three schools, if you like, three streams of teaching, which are all kind of interwoven: the bards, the ovates, and the druids. And there's a way in which each of those schools or streams of teaching meets a particular need inside of us. So the bardic school meets the need that I think we all have to express our creativity. This desire to be in the world and to give to the world and to give our creative gifts to the world. So there we learn how to sing the song of our soul, whether that's literally in song or whether that's in poetry or in story or in some other way that we can express our creativity. That's the bardic school. Then you have the ovate school, which is the shamanic school, if you like. This word ovate comes from the ancient words for prophecy or seer, prophet or seer. And the ovates work with healing, with divination, with exploring the mysteries of time. And then the third stream, the stream of the druids, who are the sages, the philosophers, who work with the power of ceremony. And in today's world, we work with, working on creating weddings and funerals and baby namings and blessings and seasonal festivals and so on. And so this is the work of the druids. It's a fascinating kind of threefold kind of work, each responding to a need in us. The need of the ovate is the need of the shaman within us to voyage in other worlds, to explore, the explorer within us, that is aware of the fact that this outer world of circumstance is only one level of reality, but there are also other levels of reality that we can explore. And then there's the need in us for wisdom as well, which is what the druid stream of teaching does. Singer, shaman, sage, these three aspects of ourself. But for today, I thought I'd talk about specifically the shamanism in Druidry, because that's the focus of the conference. And a lot of people don't know about this shamanic aspect to Druidry. And so I thought we could dive deeper into that. And we could, if you like, have an experience together where we feel it first. Because in Druidry, um, we like to experience first and then talk about it and rationalize about it and look at it afterwards. Are you okay with that?
Absolutely. I think that that is a perfect route to go. Thank you so much. Let's do.
Great. Okay. Well, let's dive in. So if you're willing, and if participants are willing to do this, you might like to close your eyes or lower your gaze. You don't have to, of course. You could always just listen to my voice and try it another time. But what happens when we close our eyes is this is like an act of magic, because in closing our eyes, millions of bits of information immediately stop flowing into our brains. It's like all that data that's coming from our vision stops flowing in, and we start to sense how we might be entering another world. And so, first of all, establishing ourselves clearly in the here and now, seated in front of our screens, fully present here and now. If it feels okay and safe and comfortable for you, you might like to sense a way in which you're gradually entering into a clearing in a forest, as if the walls around you, the floor beneath you, and the ceiling above you begin to fade away as you find yourself coming into a forest clearing. A little fire is burning, and you decide to sit down in this forest clearing, perhaps beside a tree that has a particular energy that you like. And you begin by just settling in this place. Some people see very clearly in the other world or in the world of the imagination. Some people just feel it. Whatever you experience is absolutely fine. And you first of all tune in to your sense of being seated on the ground, and you draw your attention towards the earth beneath you. And you sense how the earth is full of life. You sense how it's full of creatures, and you think of all the microbial life in the earth, of all the roots of plants all connecting and speaking to each other, sending messages, of all the soil, the sand, the minerals and rocks, the moisture. And as you breathe in and out, you allow yourself to settle on the earth. On the out breath, you can feel the tension just dropping away from you as you feel stabilized and grounded sitting on the earth. And on the in breath, it's possible that you can feel the energy of the earth, this stabilizing, healing energy just flowing into your being, flowing into your energy field. Breathing in and breathing out, sensing the energy of the earth flowing into your being, filling you with a sense of calm and stability. You become aware of the trees now. You sense the roots of the trees around you, rooted firmly in the earth. And you sense how they too are drawing energy up into their trunks. And you sense how the trees around you are like allies, friends, brothers and sisters here with you on this earth. And you feel the sense of protection that these trees bring. And as you breathe in and breathe out, you sense the aromas of the trees. You breathe in the essential oils that the trees exude, knowing that this is bringing you vitality and healing. Then you become aware of the branches and boughs of the trees and the leaves above you. And you sense the sky high above. And as you breathe in the energy of the sky. And you sense how the energy of the sky is bringing you vitality. And you sense how the energy of the sky meets the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And feeling centered now, seated in this place, you allow yourself to become aware of being in this forest clearing. And you see over there a pool of water that looks so inviting. It's a sacred spring. And if it feels right, you just allow yourself to walk over to this sacred spring. There's some soft grass beside it. You become aware of the presence of the spirit of this spring. You feel their blessing. And you ask if you might dip your hands into the pool. And if you receive the message or feel that that's okay, you then dip your hand into the pool and you take some of this water and you drink some of this water and feel this cool water flowing into your being. And then you dip your hands in again and you bathe your forehead in the water, feeling the blessings of the water flowing into your being. And then you lie down on the grass. And as you lie on the grass, just feeling the good earth beneath you, the blessing of the spring water, I will say to you a prayer of the Ovates, a healing prayer. Enchanter's plant, vervain, herb of grace, holy wort, chief herb sacred to Venus and the Arwen. May it bring inspiration, love, reconciliation, and blessings into my life. Guardian trees of elder, birch, and hawthorn, I hold your berries, elder and hawthorn, tears of your sap, birch, and I ask for your blessings to drive away impurities and to strengthen my heart. Simple plantain, here with your leaves, waybread of the 9 herbs charm, bring me the calm, the assertiveness, the resilience that I need. Yarrow, staunch grass of the diviner's charm, bring me the stability of faith, the salve of faithfulness, the strength of virility, the healing of my wounds. Valerian, all heal and encourager of sleep, with your sweet scent, bring me calm, bring me deep peace. Fairy flowers of primrose, primorosa, first flower of hillside and garden, bring me love, bring me peace, bring me the blessings of Ceridwen's cauldron. Artemisia, mugwort, motherwort, sacred to Venus, help me to see beyond the world of effects to the world of causes and meaning, of beauty and power. May fatigue be banished, protection be always about me. Mistletoe, drawn from oak and apple, seed of rebirth and of new life. all healed of the ancient druids. May my own life be refreshed at its roots, reborn with every dawn. May all be healed. May all be blessed. And allowing the healing energies of the plants to flow into you. Gradually allow yourself to sit up, to be seated, to move over to where you began, seated by the tree, feeling blessed by the energies of the plants, the earth, the trees, and the sky. And gradually allow yourself to become aware of your physical body. Gently, as you become aware of your physical body, gradually your awareness of being in this sacred clearing in the forest begins to fade. As you become aware of the floor beneath you, the walls around you, and the ceiling above you, facing your screen, fully present, here and now. And when you feel ready, you open your eyes.
I feel like I've just traveled into another world, my friend. Thank you. I feel like that power just transcended everything, and your voice carried through, brought forth to me and through me, to all of us and through all of us.
That's lovely. Great. That's great to hear. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I just traveled to another land.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you know you've heard this, you can of course enter into that meditation again, listen to it again, and then give yourself more time to really bathe and soak in that atmosphere and the different energies of the plants that are blessing your energy body. Yeah.
And there was a distinctive feel, the meditations that I do, and with my culture, the Native
Mm,
American people.
mm,
But this journey that you took me on had such a different flavor, a very decadent um, beauty that just felt very nourishing and full of life. And the wellspring that you brought me to, I appreciate that with all of me. And the Ovates are truly gifted in their channeling into other worlds. I can see this.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Can you
Absolutely.
t- can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Well, you notice the way we Michael Harner, who did a lot of work on shamanism and who developed this concept of core shamanism. He looked at shamanism, different cultures, and so on, and then found the common ground and the particular. And in its essence, what he said is that shamanism is an ability and techniques to travel into the other world, to obtain healing, inspiration, information, teaching, whatever, and then to come back and it's either for yourself or for other people. And if it's for other people, you come back and you transmit it in some way. So in Druidry, we that's exactly what we do. And you saw in that journey, that's kind of what happened for us, and we use particularly the voice. Different people use different things, and some ovates will use drumming, some ovates will use music, many will use the power of the word, because we understand the word and speech as capable of conveying a magical kind of power, hence spells and chants and so on. And so we use the voice as the medium for consciousness to travel, to voyage into the other world, and then to have an experience. And then what the ancient writers said was that the ancient druids would meet in forest clearings, and this is what we still do. And we meet in forest clearings in the physical world, but we also do it in the invisible world as well, or in the other world, I should say. So in the other world, we build our clearing in the forest for our own private work, but we also meet as groups in clearings in the other world as well. because the clearing is a very beautiful image, because on the one hand you're surrounded by nature, but you're also in contact with the stars and the moon and the sun, because it's clear above, rooted in the earth. And but with all these our allies, the trees around us. And then we work with the powers of the plants and the animals. So we work with sacred animals and with plants, and in order to help ourselves, to heal ourselves, but also to offer healing to others and to help others too.
Outstanding, my friend. I'm captured and I'm just drawn in so deeply. The
Mm.
Ovates being the shamans, and then you brought in the aspect and the energy of the druids, and how we all embody the bards, all three of these, to be who we are and walk in the way that we do. So some of the concerns of shamanism, that's a little bit what I like to get into at this time, because we're at such a place in this world where we need to lean into all of our tools in all the ways that they come, and all the people that are here to share that with us. And so many people are hungry for these tools, and you just shared with us the most beautiful tool to be able to transcend this physical world and get grounded into who we really are, and share amongst ourselves this beautiful journey. So thank you. So as far as
Mm.
concerns, as far as things that we need to lean into going and moving forward, what do the Ovates lean into in that way?
Well, okay. So if you think about the tremendous need for peace and healing in the world at the moment, the world seems to be in such dire straits with environmental crisis, and of course all the political crises, and the wars and conflicts and suffering in the world. Uh, it's one of the common beliefs amongst spiritualities and shamanic approaches is this concept of fields of energy. And our experience tells us that. One of the reasons I wanted to present that exercise to you, for us to go through it together, is when you do an exercise like that, you can feel the field, can't you? You can feel your own energy field, and this kind of other world that you go into, and the energies of the plants and so on. So, and the more you do this work, the more and I think people who are drawn to shamanic work really understand this, and the way that when people of goodwill come together, they create a certain kind of field. And the reality is that despite all the suffering and the conflict in the world, there are also thousands, if not millions, of people who are of goodwill. I mean, my belief is that the majority of people are goodwill. I mean, it's you have to be crazy to want suffering and conflict and pain. So the vast majority of people are of goodwill. More and more people are kind of switching on to the reality of other worlds, other levels of consciousness, and the reality of fields of awareness. And then you discover, the empowering thing about shamanism is that you discover that you can be responsible for that. We're each responsible for our own field. And in conventional psychotherapy and so on, we learn how to take responsibility and to stop blaming other people and dumping on other people and so on. And we take responsibility for ourselves. And then kind of spiritual psychology, if you like, which then you can move into an understanding of shamanism, says, yes, but also, you have to take responsibility for that. We're in fields, pools of energy, and you can contribute to those, which is why coming together in groups is so important and so helpful. And so in this order that I work with, the order of bards, ovates, and druids, we have this wonderful training programs in sort of 6 different languages, and tremendous meetings where we all come together and we sing and chant and do meditations like this together. And the feeling of energy is palpable. And what comes out of that is, you say, well, yes, that's all very well, but there's still a lot of suffering in the world. You say, yes, but it's our responsibility to radiate this peace, so that these fields actually have an influence, and that's the kind of positive magic that we're all engaged in, I think.
I would agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That idea and the understanding that we all need to be accountable to the energy that we bring, that field that you embody. And then when we are among one another, one field begets another, and we create a different synergy and different type of field that amplifies. And it felt very much on this journey that you took us through. I could feel the energy that I brought to the moment, the energy that you and your voice brought to the moment. And then I could sense the spirit of those plants. Although I haven't been amongst the yarrow, I understand that blood cleaning quality that its nectar, that its essence can bring forth, and
Mm.
all the things. I could feel that, and I could feel the essence and spirit of that entering into my body. And then it felt very much like all the elements were coming together to amplify. So when you speak of, how powerful we are when we come together, boy, I get riddled with goosebumps. I can feel that coming through. And I know that our listeners are going to be able to do that, and how beautiful that we are transmitting this around Machaina, Mother Earth, as we speak. I'm so taken by the order of the bards, ovates, and druids, and what you bring to the world is so beautiful for so long that you have been the head of this. So knowing
Mm.
that, the natural world calls to us to be one with it, because that is truly our nature of who we are inside. And sometimes our physical world can be so full of the human doing that we forget the human being. And so when we get
Mm.
back right with nature, like the journey that you just put us on, Philip, I appreciate that. The other thing that I was sensing on that journey, I could feel the wingeds. I could feel the sense of butterflies. I could feel those who, the animal kingdom that were around, that were lending their energy to this, even though they didn't come straight away into the journey with your voice. I could feel their essence and their presence through the nature of it. Can you expand on how the ovates would work with the animal kingdom in the shamanic way?
Yes, and it's lovely that you could sense that, because you could imagine we could have done a journey like that, but instead of, or in addition to, receiving the blessing of the plants, we then could have invited some allies or an ally into our circle from the animal realm, and then a creature might have come into the clearing, and then we would receive the medicine from that creature, and guidance or inspiration, or just a subtle transfer of energy into our field that could help us in our lives at that time. you know and so in the Druid tradition, we have this concept of familiars, which is really the same term as totems, that is used in other traditions, which is this sense of particular animals that you have a very special link with. And but sometimes, an animal may not be a familiar. It may just at that one moment, a butterfly or a deer or whatever, a wolf might come into the circle and be with you, just to bring you something special for that moment. uh and Absolutely. And then you see, if you can imagine the extension of that work. So you imagine that you build up, and this is really what we do in the training. We start off in the training in the Bardic school, where you build your sacred grove. And if you're lucky enough to have some land, you actually create one yourself, but you also create one in the imaginal world. And you become really familiar with it. It's the place you go to in your meditations when you drift into sleep and so on. And it becomes like a midway station between worlds, if you like, is where you go to in consciousness. And then from there, you can explore. And then you discover that there's a whole terrain, that when you leave your forest clearing and you go into the woods, there are caves up there on that ridge. There are mountaintops, there are lakes and forests and so on, with all sorts of experiences that await you. you know and so in the first year of training, when you're training with the bards, you discover the far side, the village, because in a lot of spiritual training, the emphasis is on the individual path, the individual quest for enlightenment, the hero's journey, all those sort of things. But we feel very much that we're moving on now, because we're not doing this just for ourselves. We're not on our own on this quest. We're all part of nature, and all of nature, the whole evolutionary wave is moving forward, if you like. And so community, I mean, all the evidence, even from the world of mental health, shows us that you need to feel really connected and a part of nature, but you need to feel connected with community and a part of a community as well. That's because we're not doing this on our own. And so we learn the power of story and of narrative and of coming together. When we come together as druids, we have the most tremendous time because we have poetry and storytelling and music and so on, song.
I'm in.
You're in. Yes, that's right. Yeah. And so we have that. And then as well as that, we have these kind of initiatory experiences, like in the cave, on the mountaintop, by the sea, and so on, that provide their own special kind of teachings. And it's this discovery that the land, nature, the earth can teach us. The trees can teach us, the animals can teach us, the plants can teach. You suddenly, from feeling, the way we tend to feel, particularly in the first world, we tend to feel kind of impoverished. We feel this kind of lack of abundance. It's like I need to buy something or do something or in order to feel kind of full up. And these teachings say, no, the world is so full. You wouldn't believe how full it is. Be with the trees and really connect with them, and you'll find an abundance of teaching and of energy that will fill you up. Same thing with plants, same thing with animals, and so on. That's the kind of journey.
Indeed. Oh boy. Yeah, the transcendence that one can feel and what I can sense through the words that you are speaking, and that journey to getting right within oneself, quieting that analytical mind, if you will, so that you can, release the things that aren't really real, and embrace the things that are so abundant right around us. That spiritual nature of everything. And when we were on that journey a little bit ago, perhaps I was entering into this so taken by the frequency of your voice and the sound and the wisdom and the journey that it was carrying me on. I really opened myself up to a space of being welcoming to anything that was going to benefit the journey. And my favorite thing in the world is the world and all the cultures that we can learn from and experience. And I appreciate this journey on this day and your perspective and bringing forth such vital knowledge of the bards, the Ovates and the Druids, and your experience and understanding, and your a wellspring of understanding. So thank you for sharing your gift. The spiritual nature that we all come to, I feel like it's so important, and what you touched on so brilliantly was, that it's not about our own journey. It is about service. It is about what we bring to humanity, and to understand that our contribution is not of this physical world. It is of the essence of who we are. And it feels like going inward, going into that cave, so to speak, is our ability to strip us of the dross that does not really hold our greatest interests at heart. It is getting right with who we really are, understanding that gift, that in my culture we would call it a hochoka, that, hochoka means where ceremony happens. And so we have a hochoka within us that is where that ceremony happens. And to bring that as a contribution is where the beauty is. So thank you for helping us to understand, and what you bring to the world is lovely. Thank you, my friend. So as we are going further into this journey, I just feel like I am getting so much from you, as the listeners are, and I'm just enamored, and this is a delicious journey indeed. What other things that would you like to share with our people? The things that you have shared, that they can be wherever they are at, and understand that, of course, they've got that within them, that they can go on that mental journey that perhaps they don't have, the acres of land or to be able to cultivate, but they can cultivate the mind. And that is so important, because so many people are living a very diverse reality from one another, but to know that we are all from the same thing, and we come forth and we bring forth our gift. So on that note, what else can you share with our listeners to move forward and walk and be the greatest contribution in their life, in their journey, for all of us?
Well, let me think. There's so much to share, but perhaps something that comes to me now is it's so easy when we become open to the spiritual way, and and we are awoken in some way as part of our journey. It's very natural to want to take on board lots of information. It's like, oh, there's this whole world out there of these amazing teachings and teachers and systems and approaches and techniques and methods and all the rest of it. And so we want to take all this stuff in for the very good reason so that we can give out and be of service and develop ourselves and all the rest of it. So it's completely natural. But there's a way in which what can happen is that can kind of invoke in us that needy self that always feels inadequate and never quite knows enough, isn't quite good enough, needs to upskill, and and so I think a really helpful corrective to that, whilst bearing in mind that it's totally natural to want to learn more, and I'm learning more all the time, and I'm always reading books and taking courses and doing stuff. So it's not like you but to have as a corrective to that, or in addition to that, this sense of what there's nothing I need to be of service and to be fully myself, because at the core there's this strange mystery that none of this belongs to me. This source, this wellspring of inspiration and energy and healing and power that can flow through me isn't mine. It comes from beyond me and it flows through me. So I don't have to worry about giving all that I can possibly give, because I can't give all that I can give because it's endless. There's this endless flow of creativity and love and beauty and healing. So it's about kind of just trusting that, relaxing into that, and just knowing that there's sure at one level there's always room for improvement. But at another level, it's absolute perfection. And all I need is just to be authentic, be in the moment, give of myself. And in giving of myself, it's not even myself. It's like it's something, and this is an incredibly liberating idea. When you really take this on board, it's so liberating. And it means you can shine, and it's not you that's shining anyway. So you don't have to get hung up on that, or feel inflated about it, or overly proud of it, or whatever, because it's not even you anyway. So many people are driven by the desire to fulfill all of their potential. That is a driving. I must fulfill before I die. I want to fulfill all of my potential. And so sort of the message here really is you can't fulfill all of your potential because it's limitless, because the potential doesn't belong to you. It's coming from a source that's beyond you, and it's limitless. So if you try to, fulfilling all of your potential suggests that it's finite, but it's not finite. It's infinite. As anybody who tunes into the kind of creative flow knows, it's coming from somewhere else. It's such a common experience. Songwriters and musicians and artists and writers all say, sometimes when it's flowing through me, it doesn't even seem to be coming from me. It's coming from somewhere else. And that's true. It's coming from the divine source, if you like.
Oh, beautifully said.
Yeah.
To be that conduit, really, the
Yeah.
journey that you put us on, and I anchored into the earth and then brought forth the energy from above. And all of a sudden I could feel myself clear of the static, quieting that mind, quieting that analytical mind, getting into presence, being completely right here, right now. And it felt like through that space was where all the energy that needed to come through me, that I was in alignment with, that I was just able to be the best conduit that I could possibly be. And that seems true to what you were just stating so beautifully. Thank you so much, Philip. This is such a lovely journey. So we've got a few more minutes left here with everybody, and you've given us so much. And it feels like, we're all hungry for more. And of course, we will have that feeling as the time is right and we come to it and through it. But of course, it is infinite, not finite, as you put it. So with that being said, we have a couple more minutes. And is there anything you would like to leave everybody with as we are closing in on this session of ours?
Okay, yes. Let me just tune in for a second and see what comes to me. Um, I think many teachers, when they express ideas, they will give an idea as if it's the ultimate truth. Like what I've said, I really believe what I've just said. But I think you always have to bear in mind that often the truth is paradoxical, and the opposite can also be true. So I'll suggest the opposite, which is what I've already spoken of it, but I'll just emphasize it again. It's like, okay, given the fact that there's nothing you need to do, it can just flow and all the rest of it. However, there's still work to be done because there's always work to be done. It's like I think we fall under the spell of the idea that at some point we'll finish. We'll get to the top of the mountain, we'll sit under the tree and become enlightened, and then we've made it. There's nothing more to be done. And certainly my experience and my understanding of life is, well, that's not actually the case. There's always new stuff to learn. There's always new territory to explore. And so whilst on the one hand, bearing in mind everything I said before, there's also this other understanding that there's and the excitement when you're not so driven by a sense of inadequacy, but instead driven by a kind of natural curiosity, and which the shaman expresses beautifully. I think this idea of the explorer, this person who wants to voyage in other worlds and to discover new horizons. Then you can kind of allow that aspect of yourself, and it's coming from a open, even playful, curious, positive place that isn't driven by a kind of anxious, oh my God, I feel so inadequate, I need to learn all this stuff. And so then the encouragement is that like we live in this amazing age where we have access to so much material, so many spiritual teachings, so many sources of inspiration. So the trick then is to become discerning, is to be like a kind of bloodhound, who can sniff out, and you look here and you look here. I mean, the internet's wonderful for that. It's really quite fun to. I remember one evening my wife was watching the television, and it wasn't interesting for me, the program where she was, and I went upstairs and I thought, what shall I do? And I thought, why don't I, instead of wine tasting, I'll guru taste. I'll look at gurus online, and I'll make two buckets. I'll put the ones, I'll just watch a little video for a couple of minutes, and if I like them, I'll put them in one bucket. And if something turns me off for whatever reason, I'll put them in another bucket, like that. And so I spent an evening listening to a couple of minutes of a whole load of gurus and creating two buckets. And then the following evening, I looked at the buckets and I looked at them again. I thought, what's the difference? What's the difference? And I realized, I won't go into the details, but I realized there were some teachers that I just didn't resonate with. It's just a particular style that, and the other ones just felt really helpful to me and all the rest of it. And that's just using one's discernment. And so that's and one can do that now because there's so much available. So we can use our discernment and say, I really like the way this person expresses these ideas, and these ideas feel helpful to me. I'll go with them. And then, even if other people say this other direction is fabulous, you'll love it. If it doesn't speak to me, it doesn't speak to me. And so, because we're all different. So what a great adventure we have where we can explore all these riches.
And it would make sense that, what resonates with us at one time is going to resonate differently, and to have this continuous capacity to pivot along the journey and to stay in that creative mode feels really right. Perhaps that is tipping into the bard's journey and how we bring forth that creativity. I love that so much, and so grateful for you and all that you bring. This has been an incredible interview with you, and I appreciate you sharing your gifts so much and your wisdom with the world.
A pleasure, Brandy. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we are wrapping up with Philip Carr-Gomm at this time, and we thank him again. We thank you so much, my friend, for everything that you bring to this earth and all her inhabitants. Thank you so much, and so it is.
Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you all for listening.